so much for the warm introduction. Hi everyone, it's really glad to see so many of you here. I'm excited for the session and thanks for the opportunity as well. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. Just give me one sec. Um, I hope everyone can see the screen. So without much further ado, let's begin because yeah, let's just start. So the first thing I just want to introduce myself. I'm Neha. I'm functional nutritionist. I have been working in nutrition field for around 5 years, and for me, the major the like outcome that I want from my practice is to ensure that my clients have a decent relationship with food and they are also able to take care of their mental health along with their physical health as well, because that's something that's lacking in the current scenario. So and I have finished my master's in clinical nutrition, and I hope I give you something today to take back from here. So let's get to know you better. Let's share a small poll, right? Let's do a small poll where I'll just try and understand how you guys are doing a little better. So first question is, please feel free to answer. Do you think your current eating habits are unsustainable? Which means that do you think your habits currently are permanent or not? Like if it is unsustainable, it means that you're not able to follow a certain diet plan for a prolonged period of time, right? So okay, that's great. So let me know if you are currently in a plan that you are able to follow for a very long time. And second thing, if you have tried any kind of diets like keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, low calorie diet, it can be anything. If you have tried anything for your weight loss journey, let me know that as well. I can see the answers here too, and it's pretty exciting to see. Another thing I want to know is, do you feel confused about your vitamin supplementation needs? Like everyone, your doctors would be like suggesting you to have a multivitamin. Are you unsure about which multivitamin to choose? Which one should you be having? Which vitamin are you deficient in, and things like that. I also would like to know how your journey with COVID has been, because it has been a rough journey for all of us. So, how is your post COVID struggle been? Have you been facing a lot of issues and, not able to cope with it? So just let me know the answers for these. And another, yes. So if your answer is yes for even one of these questions, it shows that you need to be in this like presentation, because I'm going to be addressing these things first, like to be able to understand your nutrition a little bit easier, so that you are able to handle your own food by yourself, right? So that's my primary goal here. So yes, that's that. I hope every one of you took a chance to answer. Um, sh- uh, okay, so let's go forward with this. Okay, it's still here. Let's share the results if it's like something interesting for you to see. I hope you can see the results are like if your current eating habits are unsustainable. Around 26 of you guys have said yes to that, and around 12 people have tried different kinds of dieting, and around 31 people have said that you have issues understanding your vitamin supplement needs, and around 11 of you guys have said about your post-COVID fatigue. So this does give us a certain insight into how you guys are doing right now. So let's explore further into the presentation. So the first one I want to tell you about is some mind-blowing statistics which helps you understand how Indians especially suffer from a plethora of conditions. So just think of your family, mom, dad, grandpa, someone who has a diabetes or BP condition or thyroid condition, or it can be anything, right? Just think of how many people in your family has some kind of a lifestyle disease, right? So in India, overall, 37.3 percentage of Indian population is full of lifestyle disorders, and it is only growing day by day. And second statistics is even more interesting because we are now currently in a heart attack pandemic as well, which means there is a lot of young people going through heart attacks right now because probably their diet is messed up or their lifestyle is messed up. But overall, there is around 30 deaths that is globally attributed to having heart attacks, which is indicative of a poor diet and lifestyle. And over 80 percentage of Indian population is deficient in major vitamins and minerals like calcium, vitamin A, B12, folate, etc. So like if you're a vegetarian, then there is a little bit other deficiencies as well that you would be facing and things like that, right? And around 25 percentage of the Indian population is deficient in iron, zinc, and vitamin B6, which shows how deficient we are. Also, India is the diabetic capital of the nation, which brings us to like 12 percentage of Indian population suffers from diabetes, and around 1 to 6 of Indian right now, anyone who take 1 to 6 of them is pre-diabetic, meaning that in a young age itself they are developing signs of diabetes, which as days go by is only going to get worse if you are not taking care of yourself. Now, now that I have scared you enough, let's try and understand holistic nutrition a little bit more better. So the first thing here is, what is a mindful approach when it comes to nutrition? How do you know that, right? So the first thing you have to ask yourself if you're trying to follow a diet is that, am I able to follow this diet for a long period of time? Because there is automatically, when I say the word dieting, there is a negative connotation that is attached to it, right? Like you immediately think, I should give up on all the foods that I like, I can't eat a lot of things, etc., etc. So automatically there is a negative feeling surrounding the word dieting, which has to change, which comes with holistic nutrition and a mindful approach where you are able to eat everything that you desire, but at the same time have proper control over your diet habits to the point that you are able to maintain a healthy lifestyle as well. So that's what we are going to talk about today. um, before we jump into the semantics of the holistic dieting, I just wanted to tell you a little bit on why you shouldn't be following a keto diet or like any kind of a fad diet, right? So the term fad diet, FAD, fad, it means that you are eliminating a major uh, part of sorry, you are eliminating a major part of a nutrient from your diet, right? For example, if you take a keto diet, you're eliminating carbohydrates completely. If you take paleo diet, you eliminate a lot of cereals and things like that. And if you're intermittent fasting, overall eating time itself is changed, so there is a complete mess up there. And if you take a low fat diet, you're eliminating fat from the diet. So these kind of diet culture that has been spreading because of a lot of influencers or celebrities following it, and we trying to follow suit, is not helping us in the long term, because these are diets that you are not able to follow sustainably for a long period of time. So even if you see positive results in the first 3 to 4 weeks, or even for the first 2 to 3 months, you will gain back the negatives of it again. Like for example, if you are lost weight, you will gain back the weight, and your metabolism will slow down because you're not eating properly, and things like that, right? So each of these diets are not something to be a part of our daily existence. Our daily existence, when it comes to it, we should be eating like there is this saying that goes like, any food that your grandparents would recognize, you should be completely okay with having them, right? So those kind of eating your normal regular homemade, home cooked Indian meals is what will bring you a lot more of goodness. So that's what I want to concentrate on here. So first, when we take a holistic nutrition, how it works is it's like a triangle, right? First, we make sure that your physical health is proper. We make sure that your mental health is also going along with it, because a lot of us, we suffer from stress eating, emotional eating. I myself have serious issues of stress eating, where when I am going through a certain phase, I end up wanting a pizza, which is like I just go to the nearest joint and have the biggest pizza possible because I'm just so stressed out. So those kind of mental health issues, which is curbing us from achieving our goals. So taking care of that, as well as emotional health. Making sure that your relationship with food, your relationship with yourself, your body image is well maintained. So that is also an important factor to uh, carry about. So sorry. So yes. Um, yes. So how do you begin this whole process? Is first thing, you have to understand the basics of nutrition. Second things, you have to understand how food groups works, what are all the different food groups that is available, and how do you consume them, work around them. And third one is, how do you plan without restricting yourself from eating a lot of foods, and making sure that you're in having a lot of foods that you want. So here, the first thing that I want to talk about is something called as a food pyramid, right? So here, it's a very simple diagram that shows you how much each food should be included in your diet. So if you are taking, this is the biggest portion, which will be your 10 servings that you commonly consume of cereals and millets, right? And then there is vegetables and fruits, which would be around 4 to 6 servings that should happen in a day. So servings meaning 1 cup or probably one portion of how much you are eating, right? So these many servings. So for example, if you take cereals and millets, 6 to 10 servings, morning 2 chapatis, afternoon one bowl of rice, evening 2 chapatis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Already you have gotten 5 portions of cereals, right? 5 servings of cereals. Like that, if you take fruits and vegetables, there should be at least 4 to 6 servings. So probably one in the morning, two in the morning, your salads in the afternoon, and in the evening something. So like that, a combination of 4 to 6 servings should be there. And then comes your protein-rich foods, that is your meat, dairy, fish, nuts, seeds, etc. So they will be like 3 servings in a day. And finally, your like the most least thing that you should be consuming is your salt, oil, and sugar. So that should be used sparingly. So this pyramid, just you have to remember, so that you are able to include all these varieties in your diet. And the more variety that you include, that means that the more nutrients in the diet, right? So going forward, so understanding your nutrients also means that taking each of the nutrient into account, like for example, carbohydrates have proteins and fat, there is vitamins, minerals, and water. So all of these things should be taken into consideration, right? So if you take carbohydrates, your grains, your pulses, your fruits, roots, and tubers. If you take proteins, your dairy, fish, poultry, meat, eggs, nuts and seeds, everything. So take fats, seafoods, nuts again, and ghee is like one of the best sources of food that you can include in your diet. And with respect to vitamins, you have fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and minerals, that is against fruits and vegetables. And with water, you'll include in water coffee, tea, gravies, buttermilk, coconut water, etc. So all of these things are should be a part of your diet, right? Now, talking about each of these nutrients a little bit in detail. So first we have carbohydrates. So how much carbohydrates should you be consuming in a day, or should you be actually consuming carbohydrates? So carbohydrates is considered as the villain of the diet culture, right? So everyone stays away from carbohydrates because they are not able to they think that it is causing a lot of negative effects and try to avoid it from the diet. But this is one of the most important nutrient that should be included, because carbs can keep your mood elevated. It produces a lot of happy hormones, motivational hormones in your body, and keeps you in a constant mode throughout the day. It is one of the major source of energy, and it improves your gut health. So there is a colony of bacteria living in your gut who needs to be kept happy, and carbohydrates is one reason why they are kept happy. So if you are eliminating carbohydrates from your diet, that might not be the best decision for you. And also the last point is familiarity. We are rice people, right? And we cannot do without it. So not eliminating rice from our diet is one important factor for us. So please don't eliminate your carbohydrates. Just make sure that I have given a small representation of how much you should be including, right? So if you take this much uncooked carbs, that will incorporate to this much of cooked carbohydrates, and depending on that you can consume that, like 1 cup of rice, or 1 roti, 2 rotis, whatever is comfortable for you in the right limits, could really be helpful for you. So some of the healthy sources is like your brown rice, quinoa, oats, jowar, ragi, bajra, all the millets families, dals, sweet potatoes, normal potatoes, corn, apple, banana, and the rest of the fruits are also great, additions for your carbs, right? Now, some of the right ways to include carbs in your diet is to make sure that your breakfast has a good source of complex carbohydrate, which means like any Indian breakfast, you will have a carbohydrate there. So if it's a dosha or idli, if it's an upma or poha, everything will have some carbohydrate. So keep that going. Do not miss out on your carbs for your breakfast. Second thing is, in a week, at least include 2 minute based breakfast, which helps you maintain your glycemic index, which means that your blood sugar levels can be maintained to in a healthy stature. So that is second thing. And then keep carb intake low during dinner time. So that is one thing I would strongly suggest, to reduce your carbohydrate intake during dinner, because it directly affects the liver health as well. So the more carb you take, the more blood sugar, and that leads to other troubles in the body. So you can reduce the amount of carbs. So for example, if in the lunch you are having 3 chapatis, for dinner you can have 1 or 2 chapati, and that's enough, right? So I'm just giving you an example. And then stay away from carbonated beverages, anything that comes in fruit juices, packaged drinks, ready to make cereals, potato based meals, everything. These things are something that you can stay away from, because they have a lot of simple carbohydrates in it, which means that the moment you eat that carbohydrate, your blood sugar levels is also increased. Now, before you work out, you can also ensure to have a small carbohydrate consuming meal, and go ahead with your day, so that you're able to sustain your energy. Now, coming to proteins, this is how much proteins with each meal you should be consuming. So if I am, think of your height. What is your height? If it is 154 cent, mine is 154 centimeter. So the amount of protein that I need is 54 grams of protein. So 154 minus 100 is 54. So 54 grams of protein is what I daily require. But my diet usually contains probably around 25 to 30 grams only, because Indian diets are highly deficient in protein. So 80% of Indians, if you look at it, are protein deficient. So this should be something that you should be seriously adding to your diet, right? So this also helps in production of a lot of hormones. It improves the muscle mass in the body, and just keeps your health in a good metabolic health. It maintains a good metabolic health. So for those reasons, you should be including proteins in your diet. And when it comes to proteins, there is animal sources and plant sources. Animal sources include your milk, eggs, poultry, meat, fish, etc. And your plant sources include nuts and seeds, your pulses, sprouts, etc. So please make sure to include these things on your day-to-day diet. Some of the right ways in which you can include protein in your diet is, if you are a non-vegetarian, each meal, if it is complemented by one non-vegetarian source, right? For example, in the morning, having a milk along with your breakfast, or in the afternoon, having a cup of curd along with your dinner, lunch, something of that sort. So one animal protein along with your meal could be helpful. Second thing, your breakfast should always be high in protein. So if you are a person who eats eggs, ensure that you are having 2 to 3 egg whites for your breakfast on a regular basis. And if you do not eat eggs, please make sure that you're having more sprouts, and dals and boiled beans and stuff like that for your breakfast. That also could be really helpful. Um, so protein supplements, if you are a vegetarian or if your daily requirement is not being met with just the diet, then a supplementation might be required. So make sure that you talk to a nutritionist before starting supplementation, because it can cause certain problems in the body if not done right. Okay, so just get an opinion there. Keep intake of non-veg foods to minimum at dinner time. Again, for carbs as well as proteins, dinner time is one of the most crucial one, where you can eliminate or reduce the intake of foods as much as possible. But we are used to having heavy foods at dinner. That's our, like, how our system works. Like, we have worked throughout the day, and by 6 7 p.m. you are very hungry and you feel like eating something heavy, so you end up eating a heavy meal for dinner. So that's something that you should be taking care of. Similarly, fats, again, every cell in our body requires fats. They are one of the best form of energy. They help your nervous system, they help in brain function. So around 30% of your total intake of meals should come from fats. This includes your avocados, olives, chia seeds, flax seeds, eggs, fatty fishes, soybeans and tofu, paneer, cottage cheese, yogurt. These could be some of the examples. And this is the amount of fat that you should be using in one meal, right? So 1 tablespoon of fat would really be the ideal addition to your foods. So here, like, to increase your omega-3 fats intake, I would suggest you have 2 tablespoons of flax seeds on a day-to-day basis. Include different types of nuts in the diet, because that adds to the overall profile of your uh, overall lipid profile. And 2 to 3 times a week include fish in the diet. Avoid butter because and animal fats, because they are very rich in saturated fats. And go with plant-based oil like rice bran oil, coconut oil, safflower oil, olive oil, etc. Now, if when you are considering meal planning, some of the topmost things that I would like for you to remember is always make a plan. So, preferably a 14-day plan, meaning like 14 days of this is what I'm gonna eat for breakfast. I'm gonna have poha for lunch. I'm gonna have this for dinner. I'm gonna have this. Write this down for 14 days. Stick it to your fridge. Stick to this routine again and again. You will feel very confident about the foods that you're consuming, and this will eliminate a lot of impulsive eating as well. So this is the first thing that I would love for you to do. And then second thing is go for fresh produce. So ensure that you buy fresh vegetables, meats, and eggs. Always like avoid frozen foods, or that we stay for a very long time in the fridge and things like that. Avoid that. Get your foods from local shops. That is much better than getting it from malls. Opt for healthier grains. So, as I already told, any grains that your grandparents recognize, always go for them. Right? So, it can be horse bran, it can be brown rice, white rice, it can be dals, anything that you are familiar with, you can always go for them. And always read the labels properly before you buy something. Don't go with first face value, as in, like, don't just start buying things, or like the moment you start seeing something and you see, like, for example, this product says low sodium. Okay, don't get that just because it says low sodium, because if it is low in sodium, it means that it is high in something else. So always look and read into your labels properly. And now, should you be taking supplementations? So more, as I already said, around a lot of us suffer from deficiencies, and I see a lot of people having like deficiency symptoms. These are some of the symptoms that you can look out for. One is feeling tired throughout the day, and the one is numbness or tingling sensation in your feet, your legs, and severe hair fall, bleeding gums, brittle nails, like it's very easily breakable, dry scalp, and dandruff and itchy scalp. That is another thing. Restless legs is a deficiency of iron deficiency symptom. Lack of sleep is seen when there is magnesium deficiency. Fatigue is seen when there is vitamin B12 deficiency and vitamin D deficiency. Mood swings are seen when there is omega-3 deficiency. So, like this, each deficiency symptom has a certain like sorry, each deficient nutrient has a certain symptom associated with it. So always keep an lookout for your symptoms and ensure that you are feeling well. And if at least on like 3 to 6 months basis, ensure that you are getting your vitamin profile checked so that you are having being able to add the proper supplements in the diet. So if you're some of the reasons why you should be taking supplementation, first thing is if you're following any kind of a fad diet. So as I already said, if you are eliminating a major food group from your diet, like if you're eliminating carbohydrates from your diet, or if you're eliminating fat from your diet, in those cases you might have to add some kind of a supplement there. So if you're following a fat diet, make sure to add supplements. If you're feeling tired round the clock and experience a lot of pain, right? Like there is a lot of joint pain, back pain, migraines and things like that are also indicative of deficiencies. If you are going through a short term or a long term illness, for example, if you have gone through COVID, there is a certain deficiencies that comes along with it. Like there is vitamin B12 deficiency, C deficiency, D deficiency, all that can happen. So make sure that after a certain illness you are taking care of yourself. And if you're crossing 35 to 40 years of age, that is another important factor when you should start having supplementation. And any other hormonal imbalances like PCOS, thyroid, anything else is also indicative that you should be having supplementations. So please talk to your healthcare professional or nutritionist or doctor and figure out a supplementation regimen for you and get tested as well. That would be really helpful. Now, the next thing that I want you to touch up on is how a working professional has to deal with dieting, because there is a lot of factors that comes along with it. There is like erratic work hours right now. From ever since work from home has started, the line between your office hours and your work hours has started to mingle together, and the line is very thin right now. So there is very erratic work hours, one more structured meal times. You have meeting round the clock and you're not able to attend attend to your food needs, and eating out very frequently. You're lazy to cook, or you end up buying outside, or if you're in the office, there is a peer thing happening. Everyone buys from outside, you also buy from outside, things like that. And not drinking enough water, because even now I'm feeling very thirsty, but I'm not drinking. So things like that, where we tend to forget to put our priorities first. And we are sitting in a stationary position for a very long time where we are not moving, and that also is another important problem that we are facing. And then reducing or minimum intake of fruits and nuts. Like almost all my clients who come to me and tell me about their diets are deficient in their fruits and nuts intake, and that's really sad to watch. So that's one. And excess caffeine consumption. We are all very addicted to our caffeine intake, and there is a lot of coffee intake during the day and things like that. So that these are some of the problems that we face as working professionals. And here, how would you manage it? First thing is, do not skip your breakfast. Always, always, always remember to have your breakfast. It is probably one of the most important meals of your days. So please don't skip them. Do not start your day with tea or coffee. You can have it along with your breakfast or after your breakfast, but not as first thing in the morning. That is no wet tea or wet coffee. Try to get home cooked meal for lunch as much as possible, even it is as simple as a little bit of spaghetti, or you made a sandwich or something of that sort, but make sure to include home cooked meals. Tackling the power post work hunger. So this is very important. So there is a study that says from 4 to 6 p.m. is one of the most weak time for all of us, where we give in to our cravings and end up eating things. So looking after your post work hunger is important. So ensure that you're eating something during this time, but something healthy. And plan your meals ahead. I've already discussed that. Carry around healthy snacks in your bag. Always carry around like few dates, few raisins, few nuts, chicky or peanut chickies, or sesame seed chickies, and stuff like that always around in your purse. that also, like, or your bag, that also will help you a lot. And take a walk around your office once in a while, like take a 5 minutes break of every 20 minutes of working very hard. Take a 5 minutes break, right? So something of these things could be helpful if you're trying to do a diet with respect to your working hours. And if you're working from home, there is a certain things that you can follow. First is always have a morning routine, that is, you're waking up at this time, I'll brush my teeth, I'll come back, I'll eat this, I'll start my day, I'll, clean around, whatever it is. Just make sure you have a morning routine that gives you a sense of control in your life, and that way you'll be able to do much better. 3 minute rule is where for every 1 hour of your sitting in a stationary position, you wake up and walk around for 3 minutes. So this will be something that can help you to be physically active. So just stretch around, move around like for 3 minutes after like 1 hour of sitting. That could be something helpful. And don't forget to hydrate. Always carry around a bottle of water near your bed, and surround your working place with healthy snacks. Again, as I said, a lot of nuts and dry foods, normal foods, seeds, roasted seeds, makhanas, all that you can, surround yourself with. And keep track of your time and meals. Like, even put it in your calendar that 1 hour or half an hour is your lunchtime, and do not, stray away from that. At least try to stick to that as much as possible. This way you have a certain routine to follow. And last and not the least, please don't compromise on your sleep. That is again very important thing to remember. Now, I think I'm going a little overboard. I just need 3 to 4 minutes. Is that all right?
Yes, yes, you can take it. Okay.
Okay. So just wanted to say a little bit on the alcohol guidelines part. We are all people who like to socially drink, or not everyone. It depends, like, however it happens, right? But there is a certain way you can drink the right way. So if you know that, that would be really helpful, right? So first one is, know that they are empty calories, and they are a part of your diet. So if you're having anything to drink, it is adding to your calories, which means that it can lead to weight gain. So just be aware of that and try to control your intake. Follow a safe limit of alcohol. So this is a safe limit. If you're having spirits like rum, gin, or whatever, that would be like 40 percentage alcohol. So it is 30 ml is what is recommended in a day. If you're having wine, 13 percentage alcohol, 100 ml is recommended in a day. If you're having a full strength beer, then it's like 250, 285 ml, which is like one whole big glass of your beer. And if it's a light beer, you can go up to 425 ml, which is almost equal to half a liter. And then yeah, so this is the safe limit of having your alcohol, and if you can stick to this on a day-to-day basis, that would be a great option rather than indulging in heavy drinking. More water mix to prevent dehydration. So always, like, if you're having hard liquor, make sure that you're adding a lot of mixing it with more water than with any other kind of mixer, so that you're able to hydrate yourself in the process. At least have 2 alcohol-free days a week. Ensure that you always have 2 to 3 alcohol-free days a week. And avoid cocktails because they come with a lot of sugary content in them. So try to stick to your regular intake. So that's some guidelines that you can think about when you're having alcohol next time. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was post-COVID nutrition. So if you have had COVID and if you're facing fatigue, please go to a doctor and talk about your nutrient needs, because you might be it's a very high inflammatory condition. So you might have gotten deficient in certain something. So I would really like for you to go to your doctor or nutritionist and ensure that you're going on a proper supplementation regimen. So first thing is getting a lot of anti-inflammatory foods into your body to reduce the inflammation that has caused. Second thing is amp up the protein intake, have more and more proteins, because you have lost a lot of energy and your protein mass has come down. So make sure that you add more proteins in your diet. Again, as I told, meet a doctor or nutritionist to ensure proper intake. Indulge in meditation relaxation to better your lung health, because your lung health is extremely affected when you have COVID. So make sure that you're indulging in proper meditation or some kind of a breathing exercise. Fill your diet with antioxidants, and again, hydration is really important with it. If you're having any kind of post-COVID fatigue, I think it would be really suggestive to meet a nutritionist. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you guys had some good takeaways from this.
Yes, we are at the end of the session. So we are running a poll right now about the session. You can just add your recommendation if you'd like to recommend the session to your friends and family from 10 to 1. You can rate the session. Also, if you have any questions we're taking right now, is there any questions that you would like to ask about your diet or being your supplements or anything? So please drop them in the chat. I do have a question. You mentioned about the empty calories, right, during the alcohol session and previously as well. So can you just brief that as well? That was my question.
Yes. So empty calories means that you are consuming something, but it is not giving you anything nourishing, right? Like for example, your carbonated beverages like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and all that are also empty calories, where the only nutrient they are giving is the sugar and nothing else. So those kind of calories is also present in your beer and stuff like that, where it is not giving any other kind of nutrients, but only calories it is contributing. So for example, in a day, if you are allowed to have 2000 kilocalories, for example, just having one beer would add up to like 500 kilocalories without eating anything else. So which is a completely different addition. So that is very important to remember, especially if you are in a process of losing weight and stuff like that. You have to have a control on this, because all the carbonated beverages and your alcohol add up to a lot of empty calories, which means that they're not giving any goodness, they're just giving calories.
But you have a question. What about biscuits? I think.
What about biscuits? That's a good question. Actually, I see a lot of people having tea and biscuits as a regular intake, and they are very used to that. Let me tell you, even the most healthiest biscuit that come in the market has refined flour in it. So I wouldn't call it healthy as such. I wouldn't call anything that comes in a package as a healthy thing. So we have like a lot of ragi chips, and soya chips and things like that, each of them coming with heavy salt content there. So everything has their own positives and negatives. If you are having biscuit, have one with your tea for the fun of it. That's completely all right, but don't end up having 3 4 at the same go. That's what I would suggest.
Okay. So what's your opinion on low or slow carb diet that restrict carbs but not eliminate them? Like say average 150 grams of the day, is that recommended?
Hi Sampath, thank you for the question. So, first thing, a low carb diet means it is 50 grams. 150 grams is actually a normal carbohydrate content, because in a day you would normally be having 200 to 250. So 150 is just a little less. So I don't think that would have any negative effect. You can reduce your carb intake to 150 grams, and that is just basically calorie cutting. So that what you are saying is, if I have like 2 cups of rice in the afternoon yesterday, and today I have 1 cup of rice, that is cutting me down on 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrates as easily, right? So that kind of a reduction is good. Elimination, as I said, is not good. And there is also this a trend of adding carbs to the point of 50 to 100 50 to 70 grams. That is also not that great, because that is very limited. Your brain needs a minimum 80 grams of carbohydrates to function properly, so make sure that you're not eliminating it a lot from your diet.
I'm running another poll. Meanwhile, we take the questions. Would you like to thank your HR for the session? And what kind of session would you like to join in the future? We're conducting multiple kind of session for all the employees associated with NOVA. So I'll drop a link in on the chat as well for you to join the future sessions. So our next question is, like, is it good to go for a walk right after lunch or dinner?
It is. You can go for a walk right after lunch or dinner. I do suggest it to people as well because it helps the food to get to move a little faster into your digestive system. So your the whole digestive system moves in a peristaltic wave, right? So there is one compression, there is one elongation, compression, elongation, compression, elongation. So when you are walking around and you are giving it some kind of activity, I'm not telling you to do a big running or something of that sort. That's definitely not recommended. A little bit of walk around your workplace and things like that would help make this peristalsis movement a little bit more easier, so the food goes into your tummy faster, which means the digestion is a little better. So yes, it is a good idea to walk after your lunch or dinner.
Also, we have people around like coffee, tea, and too much, right? So if you have to avoid tea for one slot, which is better avoiding it in the morning or in the evening, can you suggest a proper time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would have tea always with some kind of a snack. So it's there is two things, right? When it comes to fruits, you always have it alone or leave it alone. It should be a separate entity in your diet. When it comes to tea or coffee, it should always be had with something rather than having it as a separate entity. So I would suggest like along with your breakfast is one good choice, or 30 minutes after a meal is a good choice, like 30 to 40 minutes after a meal. In a day, 2 to 3 cups maximum and not more than that. And I would also suggest that post 6 p.m. don't have any kind of caffeine, because even though it feels like it doesn't affect you much, it is a nervous stimulator and can keep you awake at night. So I would suggest not to have post 6 p.m. Other than that, 3 times a day at any time along with the meal is a great idea.
Also, we have an interesting question. Many foods have the nutrition label as CAL, CAL, or some have KCAL, which is the correct one, which is the correct measure.
Kilocalories is what we look at, because every food that we consume, we calculate it with the amount of kilocalories it provides per gram of the food, right? For example, if you take carbohydrate, 1 gram of carbohydrate gives you 4 kilocalories. If you take proteins, 1 gram of protein gives you 4 kilocalories. If you take fats, 1 gram of fat gives you 9 kilocalories. So always look for kilocalories rather than calories, because the whole metric system works towards kilocalories with respect to diet. So just make sure that you're following the kilocalories. And with respect to labels, look into kilocalories per serving as well. That is, each serving means how much kilocalories does it contribute to. For example, if you take a protein powder, 30 grams of protein powder, how much calories it gives, rather than just seeing the general calorie count.
Yes, that is a good metrics, I guess. So also for veg people, how much nuts quantity and variety are sufficient in a day to maintain nutrition?
For veg people, okay. Veg, I would suggest that every meal has some kind of a dal or sprout or some pulses along with it. It can be morning just sauteed peas could be something, sprouts in the evening, and night dal or something of that sort. Ensure that you have 3 meals, may some kind of a pulse. So this will give you 6, 6, 6. That is 18 grams of protein. Other than that, you will get another say 10 grams from carbohydrates that you're consuming, so already 28 ho gaya. And then you can have nuts and seeds, which will again add like around 15 there. So that will be around like 55, 50, around 60 grams of proteins you will get like that. But if you're not able to have dals and sprouts on a day-to-day basis, I would suggest that you go on a protein supplement if you are a vegetarian, because most of vegetarians who come do not consume dals on every 3 meals, because it leads to bloating and irritability in their gut issues and all that. So they tend to avoid it. So there is no specific quantity that you can maintain. With respect, like we cannot just take nuts and decide okay, this much nuts you can have and that will give you this much proteins, because nuts is very crude. That is like it is highly concentrated. So you have to make sure to have like lesser quantity.
Okay. Uh, Any recommendation for Ramzan fasting? That's another question we have.
Okay, Arman, how many egg yolks per day are okay? How
Okay,
many egg
yes,
whites are recommended per day? Sorry, I just found that.
yeah,
So egg yolks, if you're going with having egg yolks, one egg yolk per day is okay. And if you have cholesterol or any kind of a lipid problem, then in a week, 3 to 4 egg whites is all right. Sorry, egg yolk is all right, because one yolk adds up to 250 mg of cholesterol, which is your daily requirement of cholesterol. So in a day, you need 250 mg, which you will get from one egg yolk itself. So what about the rest of the foods, right? So for that reason, you can have either weekly 3 to 4 if you have any kind of cholesterol issue, or you can have daily one if you're a normal healthy condition. Egg whites you can have as much as you want. I prefer 2 to 3, recommending 2 to 3 egg whites. If you're working out more, you can have more as well. It also depends on how your body is able to accept it, if you're able to digest it properly. So you can have according to that. Any recommendation for Ramzan fasting? I would suggest that break your Ramzan with fast with fruits rather than having directly jumping into dinners. So have some kind of fruits right after sunset, and then after some time have your dinner. Try to avoid deep fried foods for dinner. Ensure that you are having light, like normally cooked food. And in the morning, have your nuts and dry fruits, and have at least 1 to 2 liters of water, because throughout the day you're not drinking any water, so there is a definite dehydration. And Ramzan comes during the time where the temperature is high as well, so make sure that you are hydrating yourself. You can probably use ORS as well a little bit, because you might be dehydrated to a great extent when you have going through this. So at night, if you're, or in the morning, if you're having an ORS, that also would be a great idea.
okay. Do you like? Are you saying that ORS should be taken at night or during the morning, where we
It can be
eat the
taken
food?
at any time. Night, it might make you more active, so probably morning is a better option.
Okay. How about milkshakes and ice cream?
Ice creams are fine. So milkshakes, milk and fruits, dairy and fruits does not go together, because together when they go into the body, they form certain toxins which are not in the best interest of the body. So try to avoid combining any kind of dairy with fruits.